And welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to Cinemacast today, the month of November. Starting off the month of November, God, did you guys have a good Halloween season? Did you guys enjoy last month? God, October. Every time October comes around, it feels like it flies by. The last 3 months, don't it? It's like the first 6-7 months just drag on by. You know, the fucking heat, springtime, it all drags on by. But then when you get to your favorite season of the year, it always rapidly just flashes by. You know, it flashes before your eyes. The fall season, Halloween, you know, October's the first to go rapidly, and I barely got to do anything this season, you know? I've been so busy with a bunch of stuff. But anyway, it's the month of November, and kicking it off, oh boy, today's feature. Before I get into it, guys, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below if you haven't already yet. Also, if you guys want to follow us on our streaming channels, twitch.tv/arrowwithaname and kick.com/Arrow Entertainment. Links for those are down in the description section. Be sure to go on over there. Follow us on there for when we go live on those channels as well. And also, if you want to follow us on social media, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, link for that is down below. And if you are on Discord and you want to follow us on Discord, or follow our Discord server for updates, memes, gameplay clips, meet new people on there and such, you know, have discussions about anime, movies, music, whatever you want. Link for our Discord is down below as well. And without any further ado, guys, let's get into today's episode, today's feature. This is oh boy. This is one movie you guys do not want to see. That's why I took the bullet for you guys. I took the blunt for you guys. I'm going to do it. I'm doing a review today on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Now, this ain't your typical Winnie the Pooh. If you were a child growing up and you watched the cartoon series of Winnie the Pooh, if you had the books, the toys, the stuffed animals, all that stuff, the whole story, you know, they lived in the woods. They were imaginary talking friends of Christopher Robin, who was a human young boy who hung out in the woods a lot with them. You know, they went on adventures, they played games, all that stuff. You know, Winnie, Piglet, Eeyore, Rabbit, Tigger, and other little woodland creatures that may be out there, right? Well, this ain't your standard Winnie the Pooh, guys. This is a 2023 British independent slasher film. It was edited, produced, written, and directed by Rhys Frank Waterfield. God, he had a lot under his title, a lot under his name. He edited it, produced it, written it, and directed this fucking pile of shit. It serves as a horror reimagining to A.A. Milne's, or Milne, whatever the fuck that name is, and E.H. Shepard's Winnie the Pooh books, and stars Craig David Dowsett as the titular character. This is really God. So, we got the titular character, Christopher Robin, played by some unknown actor, Craig David Dowsett. And then you got, or is it that? No. So you got Craig David Dowsett, who plays a titular character, Winnie the Pooh. Followed by Chris Cordell, never heard of him, as Piglet. So let's see, we got Christopher Robin, who plays in here, who's played by Nikolai Leon. And then you got a whole cast of, well, they're pretty much all killed off in the movie. So there's a big spoiler right there. If you guys did not care about this movie, I'm going to read a synopsis to you. It is as ridiculous as it sounds. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, you know? And even the poster, you see a typical, I think it's like the DVD poster for the movie, but there's another poster that says, "We'll be friends forever, won't we?" This movie actually released in cinemas. This movie released in cinemas, guys. It was released January 23rd, or 26th, 2023, I'm sorry, in Mexico. And then 2 months later, a little over 2 months later, in the United Kingdom. Movie runs for about 84 minutes. This movie was done on a $100,000 budget. A $100,000 budget. So, no wonder it's so cheapy looking. And you know what? This fucking movie made $5.2 million. It made $5.2 million. Like, who'd have thunk, okay? Who the hell was waiting for a serial killer slasher film based around Winnie the Pooh? I mean, a few years earlier, they did one on the, I think it was the Banana Splits. Remember that TV show from way back in the 60s? I think it was the 60s or the 70s. You know, they were people in costumes, but in this movie they are like animatronics, and they're out to kidnap kids and kill their families and shit. Maybe I'll cover that movie some other time. That's another stinker you don't want to catch. But yeah, this seems to be a trend now. It's like, oh boy, what shit can we produce? Can we write about? Can we direct and put out there for people to see? What kind of guilty pleasures do people have when it comes to movies like this? Let's get into it. Oh my god. So, the movie starts off with a young Christopher Robin who meets and befriends a group of anthropomorphic, I guess that's a fucking word, creatures. You know, the woodland creatures from the cartoon series and all that. You know, Owl, Rabbit, Eeyore, Piglet, and Winnie the Pooh in the 100-acre woods. However, Christopher Robin leaves after he had entered college. So, poor Christopher Robin. He's got to grow up. He's a human being. So, of course, he's not going to be your friend forever. I mean, he'll remember you. He may come out and see you every once in a while, but he got accepted into college. You really got to accept that, Pooh. So he enters college, right? And without him around to feed them, and with the arrival of winter, the creatures went into starvation. That's a hell of a way to put it. In order to survive, they settled on killing and eating Eeyore, which developed in them a hatred for humanity. They vow to return to their feral instincts and never speak again. So because Christopher Robin, because he left them, and they had no way of eating, no way of drinking, nothing, they resorted to eating poor Eeyore. I want to say, what happened to Rabbit and Owl? Like, I don't even really remember seeing much of what happened to them. So when this movie first came out and people were talking about, they kill Eeyore, they eat Eeyore in the beginning. I'm thinking, who the fuck is Eeyore? Now, mind you, these live action versions of these characters, they're not CG. These are just adult men, whatever, with the masks on. But, you know, it's not like they take the mask off and they're human. No, it's nothing like that. You know, it's just, you know, you know what I'm talking about. So they eat Eeyore, and they develop a hatred for humanity because of what Christopher Robin did. Damn him for getting accepted to college. Damn him for growing the fuck up and becoming a man. 5 years later, Christopher Robin, who's now an adult, returns to the 100-acre woods, accompanied by his wife, Mary, but finds the place in a desolate state. The couple are ambushed by Piglet, who fatally strangles Mary. Pooh and Piglet then drag Christopher into the woods, showing him Eeyore's skeletal remains and burning Mary's corpse. See, I was kind of in and out with this movie a little bit, but I paid attention to pretty much most of it. So there's a skeleton that is shown in the movie, but I'm like, who the hell is that? But it turns out, yeah, now it was Eeyore. It was Eeyore's skeleton. Sometime later, University students Maria, Jessica, Alice, Zoe, and Laura, who are, why should you even care about? They all fucking die in the end anyway. Rent a cabin in the woods so she can overcome a traumatic stalking experience. Well, guess what? They're stalked in the woods anyway by two anamorphic fucking creatures, or whatever the hell they call them, you know, that are out for blood. Tina, another friend, gets lost en route, and Pooh grinds her up in a wood chipper. This was an interesting scene, because for the amount of minor blood and gore that's in this movie, this is the most intense scene, the most graphic one, but you don't see much of it. You know, but she ends up in a struggle with him. She outruns him into a barn, and then he catches her. And then, of course, you know, she's the only one this happens to. And even my fiance was watching, you know, like, you know, Pooh ends up yanking her fucking shirt off and she's naked, you know, and my fiance's like, of course she got to be naked in this movie. So it's like, he rips her shirt off, you know, she's screaming, and he ends up knocking her out, trying to knock her unconscious against his machine, and then he feeds her into a wood chipper. And of course, you know, I got to talk about the score real quick. The music score with this movie, it tries to make it as like it's some kind of demonic, evil movie, something like fucking Tales from the Hood or Hellraiser or some shit like that. You know, the music where they got the choir playing and it's real dark and scary and shit. Yeah, they had to incorporate some fucking music like that into here. You know, the music's done by Andrew Scott Bell. So the music it's very cheap. It's very cheesy. It fits along with the cheesy mood of the movie. It fits along with the cheesy plot. Everything about this movie so far is very cheesy. The music, the setting, the story, the characters are all lame, and you're hoping that they all get fucking killed off in this movie one way or another. And of course they do. But this poor woman here, Tina, she gets it the worst. You don't see much of it. She gets fed into a wood chipper, you know? So then going back, okay, in the treehouse, Pooh, who has an imprisoned Christopher Robin, reminisces over the childhood and breaks down, because why not? Christopher's trying to remind him of the good old times and shit, telling him, you don't have to do this, and then he's reminiscing about the childhood, you know, the good old days with when Christopher Robin was a young kid. But then he breaks down, he starts, you know, tearing shit up in the barn, and then he starts beating him. He starts whipping him in the back. And you could only guess. You could only guess what Pooh is whipping him with. He is beating him in the back with Eeyore's tail and showering him in Mary's blood. So Pooh's got Eeyore's tail. Remember Eeyore, he had that fucking little tail to, you know, added to him, or I think it might have been his tail or something. Yeah, he uses that as a whip. And it's a very bloody whip, too, you know? It's leaving marks on Christopher Robin's back, you know? And then, of course, he's using Mary's blood to shower, you know, dump in, and it's like showering all over him. And, of course, you got that very moody, woo, that music that plays. It's very demonic and shit. Like, oh, my God. The cheese factor. And this is only probably, like, maybe the first 30 minutes of the movie. You got another hour, maybe, left to go. So then as night falls, Pooh and Piglet ambush this girl Laura, and slowly drive a car over her head. Now this girl, this is an interesting kill, but you see it very, very, not often, but it is shown in a few movies. Very few movies. They ambush her in a fucking hot tub. They lay her out on the fucking road. You know, they got her hands tied behind her back to her feet. You got, I think it was Piglet who's standing on top of her with a fucking sledgehammer, holding her down, and you got Pooh behind the fucking wheel of a car, slowly creeping up. And then the tire is right there, up by her head, and he crushes her head with the fucking car. As if we haven't seen that in so many horror movies already, you know, where they run people over or crush their heads with a car. So that's what happens with this victim here. Then Piglet enters the cabin, killing the girl Zoe. Maria, I think, what was this? Oh, yeah. Zoe was killed off in the pool. She's swimming in the pool, swimming away from the motherfucker, and he's walking in the pool holding this big sledgehammer. Gets to the end of the pool, she has nowhere to go. I would have been like, jump up and up on the platform, maybe? But no, she's just standing there, and he's swinging his sledgehammer back and forth, and then he just takes one good hell of a fucking wallop right across her face. And then he proceeds to beat her while she's floating on water. This movie is just a whole bunch of ridiculous, but let's make it through this, okay? So then the other two girls, Maria and Jessica, observe the duo taking Alice, this girl Alice who's unconscious, and decide to rescue her. In Pooh's treehouse, they find and free Christopher Robin, who directs them to another hostage named Charlene. Now, at this point, I'm like, who the fuck is Charlene? Where did this girl come from? This was some random fucking girl that they find that ends up screaming in the woods and shit, you know? So, seeking revenge after Piglet mutilated her face after these girls freed her, Charlene summons Piglet to kill him, but Piglet mauls her to death. So this girl that they free, they rescue, you know, she's screaming for help. Just some random fucking girl out in the middle of nowhere. You have not seen her. Well, at least I don't think I've seen her at all. But then I'm like, who the fuck is this girl? You know, where did she come from? Did she walk in with them? Apparently not. So they got some random character. They gave her some random fucking name. You know, she has a fucking 3-minute scene and then she's dead. The end, you know? So then Pooh chases Maria and Jessica into the woods, but Alice, this girl Alice, stays behind and bludgeons Piglet with his own sledgehammer, apparently fatally. So this is interesting. You know, you got these two anamorphic beings that are muscular in a sense, wielding a fucking sledgehammer and a knife. You mean to tell me this girl grabbed the sledgehammer, started beating the fuck out of Piglet, and not only that, manages to tie him up, wrist to wrist, you know, up against something that's right there in the barn. I forgot what it was, a couple pillars. And then she starts beating the fuck out of him. And then she's like, this is for so-and-so, and this is for so-and-so, and this is for so-and-so. Ends up apparently killing him in the end. It's very cheesily done, but it's like, so, am I missing something here? The masculinity has left Piglet, and now the woman is overcoming him and beating the fuck out of him and managed to tie him up so she could beat the fuck out of him even more? Like, what's going on with this movie? I hope you guys are paying attention. I hope you guys are following along, because this movie is a convoluted mess. And I don't mind fucking telling you guys about it. So she plunges Piglet to death. And then Pooh impales Alice. He comes back, he hears the screams, and he knows Piglet's in trouble. So he comes back, and she tries to kill Pooh, but he impales her with a knife through her open mouth. But this ain't no fucking knife. This is like a goddamn machete. This is something that makes fucking Michael Myers' knife look like a fucking table knife. That's how big this is. He impales her with it up along the fucking pillar. So he Michael Myers his bitch on the pillar through the mouth. Ain't that something? So then going back to the other two girls on the road. Okay, they make it to the road and they see these headlights and it's a group of men that are passing by, but they tell them what's going on. Then of course Pooh comes into play. He shows up, these guys are like, who the hell is this guy? And they tell him, just run away, just run away. He's gonna kill us, he's gonna kill us, he's gonna kill you too. But here's what's funny about this scene, right? So this scene, now, the movie Halloween Kills came out a year ago. And I think this movie was already in production when that movie came out. But here's the kicker. No, wait a minute. Halloween Ends came out a year ago. That's right. So 2 years ago, it was Halloween Kills. Okay, so I think that this movie blatantly copied a certain scene from Halloween Kills. Blatantly copied it. Because in this scene, you got a total of 4 or 5 guys surrounding Pooh on an open road, surrounded by darkness, trees, and their own headlights. And then you got the one guy's like, you ready, guys? Let's do this. So then one guy proceeds with a crowbar, and they start beating Pooh up. He's just standing there taking it. He's just standing there taking the beatings, you know? And it's reminiscent to fucking Michael Myers getting beaten at the end of fucking Halloween Kills. It's almost the same exact scene, people. I shit you not. Pooh's getting beat the fuck up by these 5 guys. And then when Pooh gets the upper hand, he kills them off one by fucking one. He throws a fucking batch of bees at one of them. He breaks the wrist of one guy and smashes his head. I forgot how he killed the other 3. But this scene is exactly reminiscent to Halloween Kills. I shit you not. You got a group of men that are beating the fuck out of this guy who's trying to kill these 2 girls. And then he overpowers them. But then the scene doesn't make sense, okay? The scene doesn't make sense because he's about their height, right? But it's almost like every time they fucking beat him harder, he grows. So the camera shot's showing that, okay, this motherfucker, he grew like 5 fucking feet and he's starting to beat the fuck out of these guys, you know? This whole scene makes no goddamn sense. Like I said, I hope you guys are following this one. So he kills them off easily. Maria tries to run him over, only with their pickup truck, but only crashes. Upon awakening, she witnesses Pooh grabbing her friend Jessica from the passenger side, drags her out in front of the truck, and then off-screen decapitates her and then holds her head up. He almost kills Maria. He drags her out. He's about to do the same thing, but then here comes Christopher Robin out of nowhere with another truck, driving it right into him, impaling him in between 2 vehicles, right? So you think that's the end of the movie, right? You think, okay, Christopher Robin, come back, kills the motherfucker off. That's it. End of movie, you know? He goes to, bring Maria to her feet. But then Pooh wakes up, frees himself from this fucking wreckage. What does he do? He turns around and pushes the truck. He pushes the fucking truck that's not neutral. He pushes the fucking truck. This motherfucker literally pushes a truck out of the way to get himself free. And then he grabs this girl Maria. So then Christopher Robin, he stops. He comes back and he says, Pooh, please, I'll go with you. I will stay with you forever. I'm sorry. Please let her go and take me instead. So then Pooh breaks his vow of silence and accuses Christopher of abandoning him before slashing her throat. So he ends up killing the last remaining girl. And as she dies in Christopher's arms, a traumatized Christopher flees, realizing that his former friend is now beyond help, as Pooh repeatedly stabs Maria in the head, and thus the credits roll. And that's the end of the movie. Christopher Robin, he tries to kill him, tries to reason with him. But Pooh ends up killing all of these fucking people that come out there to stay at this cabin, right? Out in the woods. So every person that was out there, they're all dead. All these guys that try to rescue these last 2 remaining girls, all dead within a matter of 3 minutes. This guy playing Christopher Robin takes off like a banshee in the night, screaming and running. You don't know what happened to him. This movie is such a convoluted fucking mess. Development of this movie real quick. On May 24th, 2022, Josh Korngut of Dread Central reported that the Winnie the Pooh based horror film adaptation was in development. The character's rights have been owned by Walt Disney since 1966, and while Disney retains exclusive rights to the depictions of these characters from their franchise, the first Winnie the Pooh book went into public domain in the U.S. So that's how they got around doing this shit without Disney filing lawsuits and shit. So that's how they did it. I never really thought of that, okay? I never really thought of that. Now thinking about it, yeah, Winnie the Pooh is a Disney television show. It's based on, it's owned by Disney. Disney owns Winnie the Pooh. That's right. But reading right here, the very first book, the very first Winnie the Pooh book is public domain. That is right. And then, of course, on January 1st, 2022, that was when it was on public domain. After the copyright lapsed, Rees Frank Waterfield began development of this movie the same year. Speaking to Variety, Frank Waterfield described the plot as both Winnie the Pooh and Piglet turning into homicidal maniacs as Christopher Robin leaves for college. He stated, Christopher Robin is pulled away from them, and he's not giving them food. It's made Pooh and Piglet it's made their lives a little difficult because they've had to fend for themselves so much. They've essentially become feral. So they've gone back to their animal roots. They're no longer tame. They're like a vicious barren pig who want to go around and try to find their prey. God damn, man. I don't even want to talk about the music. This movie came out this year. It released in theaters, guys. It released in fucking theaters. As of April 19th this year, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey has grossed $2 million in the U.S. and Canada, and $3 million in other territories, including over $1 million in Mexico, for a worldwide total of $5.2 million. And you could only guess what the rating of this movie is. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 3% of 58 critics' reviews are positive. Jesus Christ. With an average rating of 2.2 out of 10. The website consensus reads, oh, brother. Oh, shit. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a 16 out of 100, based on 19 critics, indicating overwhelmingly dislike. My God, there's so much dislike for this movie. And then, of course, there is a sequel in works, possibly. Oh my fucking God. There's a possible sequel in works for this movie. June 2022, Frank Waterfield expressed interest in creating a sequel and stated that he wants to ramp it up even more, go even crazier and even more extreme. Then last November, he announced that a sequel titled Winnie the Pooh 2 was in development, with him returning as director and writer on a budget 5 times larger than the previous installment. What the fuck? 5 times? So what, $500,000? I don't fucking know. The sequel is expected to begin filming late 2023, with an anticipated release of February 2024. Christ, so in only 4 months, we're going to see another goddamn Winnie the Pooh horror movie. In August this year, Frank Waterfield announced that Pooh will use a chainsaw as a weapon in the sequel. Jesus Christ. That September, Pooh and Piglet were confirmed to have new designs and teaser images. Piglet died, didn't he? Or was he just knocked unconscious for the rest of the film? I don't fucking know. With the new characters, Owl and Tigger also confirmed to appear. Oh my fucking God. And if that's not enough, guys, listen to this shit. Shared universe and other projects to go along with this. Alongside the announcement of the sequel, I shit you not, this is how ridiculous this shit is. 2 other horror films were announced. Bambi the Reckoning and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Based on Bambi, A Life in the Woods, and Peter and Wendy respectively. In February 2023, Frank Waterfield announced that the various projects take place in the same shared continuity, well, they continue each other, franchise, while Jagged Edge Productions intends to eventually have crossovers featuring the characters. Frank Waterfield also expressed interest in making films about Thor, the Norse god of thunder, as well as copyrighted franchises such as Teletubbies and Ninja Turtles. Oh my fucking God. Oh. So not only is there going to be another Winnie the Pooh, we're going to have a killer Bambi and fucking Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmares. This shit is fucking absurd, guys. This movie here, oh my God. If you guys see this on Peacock or wherever it's streaming at, guys, you got one choice. You can either avoid it completely or take a dive in it, have a laugh, and just say, I saw one of the worst movies I've ever fucking seen in my life. Now, this movie is not nowhere near as bad as some of the other movies that I've saw that were laughingly bad, but this one, come on. Come on. What the hell? Like I said, you took a name that is owned by Disney, but there was a loophole there. There was a loophole there. Like I said, like I read, there's a fucking loophole there. You have the first book of the entire series of the fucking character that's not owned by Disney. That's public domain. That was the loophole that this director had to make this movie. Yes, there's some blood and gore in this fucking film. It's just as gritty as if you go to Walmart, if you guys shop at Walmart, this is a great value version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, minus the chainsaw. I shit you guys not. That's all this movie is. It's a great value version of Texas Chainsaw. So what do I give this movie as my personal rating? My God. I watched it. I watched maybe about 90-95% of the movie I paid attention to. But from what I watched, I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching? You got a story about two woodland creatures who go and turn into homicidal maniacs. Killing off every fucking... They're not teenagers anymore, I assume, but you're killing off every fucking person in this movie. With the exception of one who manages to escape because you got a heart for him, sort of. But this is one of those movies, this is like fucking, this is more than dumpster fire. It's like if you threw a pile of poo shit in a dumpster fire, along with piglet piss, and this is what you got. That's how I describe this movie as. But I gotta give it a rating. Was it enjoyable? It's watchable. I will say that. It is watchable. I'll give it that. This is something I will never sit through again. I don't care if my kids want to watch it. I'll never sit through it again because it is that bad. It is laughingly bad. I give Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey a 1 out of 10. A 1 out of 10. The first lowest rated movie right here on the podcast is Winnie the Pooh. 1 out of 10, people. If you are interested in watching this movie right now, it is on Peacock. It might be on other streaming platforms. I'm not sure. But take your chances. Pick your poison. And that's it for today's episode of Cinemacast, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. If you guys have yet to do so, hit that like and subscribe button down below. If you guys want to follow us on our social media and other streaming platforms, all the links for that are down below, as well as the link for our Discord server. If you're on Discord and you want to join us over there. Also, if you guys ever feel free, you want to donate to the show, donate to the channel, whatever, we do accept donations. Link for our Cash App is right down below as well. So until next time, guys, I'll see you next week for next week's feature. Hopefully it's another horror movie, but we shall see. Till next time, we will catch you right back here at the cinema.